Welcome back to Luigi's Mansion. We're on to floor 6 now. So, what do we have in store this time? Because we're skipping 5 because we were already there.
Okay, so Lewis, you said that it's feasible that there could be a music hall in the hotel. Are you saying that hotels also routinely hold Renaissance fairs?
No, I'm not. This is
Okay.
where the hotel goes into full no shits given territory. Um, although I will
And again,
say,
I'm saying if it takes place in Las
I will
Vegas, that's all
say,
the explanation you need.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
well, you don't necessarily even need to go to Las Vegas for this kind of thing. I've gone to medieval times before as a school trip kind of thing, and that was just in Trenton. I think it was Trenton anyway. It was in my state,
But
basically.
but in a hotel,
Not in a
though.
Yeah.
That's
hotel,
what we're
no. It
getting
was in
at.
this big,
Yeah.
like, sort of dedicated building, and it was glorious. They sold real swords, and they had you eating food medieval style, and there was a jousting show going on.
Medieval food, real style, as an undercooked and full of
No,
bacteria.
I mean, like,
The kind where it's a big turkey leg on the spot.
yeah,
Yeah.
like big hunk of meat and a bowl of soup that you had to that you had to like sort of drink up, that kind of thing.
I don't like those turkey leg things because I have issues biting into things.
I mean, they obviously made it with higher quality stuff than you would have had in the medieval times, because it was like genuinely really good.
No. We used the most authentic ye old George Foreman grills.
Yes, we've got
I mean,
the medieval food so authentic it actually came from the 1500s.
I mean, if you were going to be eating actual medieval food, it would have to be salted to hell for preservation. So
it would be very
Yeah.
salty, like not cooked all the way through because they just put it. They just spun it. They just had to hand spin it over like a fire and shit.
yeah, obviously culinary arts have gotten a lot more a lot more in depth in the intervening
A lot of people
centuries, but-
fucking died in the medieval ages, I would like to point out.
Yes, but you know, as a place to go for an interesting day out or night out, medieval times was fucking glorious, and I want to go there again because I haven't been there since I was a kid. But yeah, places like this you can find them in.
I'm sure there is a Vegas hotel, ye olde.
There is.
Yeah.
My grandparents, for a number of years, were retired out there, so we kind of visited a lot of them.
Well, I mean,
Oh, cool.
The only fun ones, quote unquote, were Caesar's Palace. That's only because it has like a big mall as part of it, and the Pyramid one because that just has a really cool interior design. The rest are kind of cheap.
yeah.
Are you saying that they would be tacky and cheap in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Wow, I'm shocked.
You're missing a room.
I don't think that... Oh, yeah, he is missing a room.
Yeah.
Oopsie doodle.
Well, if there's something important in there, he'll get it eventually.
This is an all gems run, so if I miss like a small like side room that's just money, then I've just missed it. I get max rank, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, there's
This game throws way more money than you need in it.
yeah, there's a lot of money in this game.
Probably to compensate for people using the shop a little bit.
Yeah, because it's 1,000. It's 1,000 coins in order to get either to get anything in the shop. There's the Boo Finder and the gem thing. So if you miss one gem on every floor and you use the gem finder in order to find them, that's a good like 1,500 gold, I would say. So, you know, that's a fair amount.
The other thing is that the further that you get into the game, the more gold bones you're allowed to hold at one time. So they are expecting you to spend a little bit of money on those gold bones just to have a safety buffer.
I did die a couple of times playing this game too, because there were a couple of bosses that I had trouble figuring out how the hell I was supposed to like kill.
I only died to the final boss on my first playthrough.
I don't remember exactly where it happened, but I did end up using a couple of gold bones throughout my playthrough. Only a couple, but you know, it happened.
The first one lasted me more than half the game, I should say. Like, I think I got to the pyramid level before I lost the first one.
Yeah,
So-
but it's like at first I think you can hold like 3. Eventually it upgrades to 5. There's no notice.
You can get
telling-
10 at the end.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like there's no notice telling you that you can hold more. It's just that the shop stops preventing you from buying more than a certain amount after a certain point. A little bizarre,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah. I find that the Boo Finder is also not really necessary because, at least for the Gem Finder, it does narrow your search down in that, okay, there's the gem, it's in this room. Whereas the Boo Finder, it's pretty obvious when you go to the floor where there's a Boo there, the poltergust will shake. If you look in the Boo thing, in the Boo list in the lab, it has them all in order by floor, so you can just look at that to figure out which floors you don't have them. And when you get to the room with the Boo in it, the screen goes dark and it starts playing the music. So, okay, that's basically all the cue you need, really. So the Boo Finder, I think, is probably the least useful thing to spend your money on,
Yeah,
all things considered.
without a doubt. Yeah. I wound up not using either the Boo Finder or the Gem Finder at all. So.
Did you get all the gems?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
There were a few
There
that
were
there were a few that gave me a bit of trouble trying to find them, but I got them all.
I liked them more than the. I definitely had less trouble than the ones in Dark Moon, where there were a few obtuse ones in this game, but I felt like a lot of them in Dark Moon.
Well,
were
the
really
nice part
obtuse.
is the nice part is none of them are tied to like missions and shit.
Okay, that's another thing, yeah, because you had to be in the correct.
You had to be in the
for
correct
some of them.
mission for some of them, yeah.
He knocked the plunger off his shield right before you would have grabbed it, didn't he?
Yep.
I feel like they don't do enough with the ghosts holding stuff in this game, which is supposed to be like how they kind of combat the lack of variety in some ways. Because I feel like they had more things that they would hold and more variety in that sense, even in Dark Moon, from what I remember. I could be wrong. I haven't played that game in years. Whereas in this game, I feel like they'll either have something like the sunglasses or something like the shield, and then that's it. There's no other gameplay variance between what they could be holding.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they did do more with like level specific ghost gimmicks, because that does give them a bit of additional personality that they could make use of. What's with the random 8-ball?
No, it was a ghost. It was a ghost throwing things at me.
Well, what? Yeah, but why an 8-ball?
It was the tomato.
No, there was an 8-ball. I saw it. It was an 8-ball.
I'm not crazy.
It might be reusing the models from the billiards room that they first showed up in.
Probably.
I feel
might
like
be the
they
same
throw
ghost.
a number of different things. Like they throw banana peels too.
Oh yeah,
so
the
they
banana
might just
peels
have
are freaking annoying.
They might have just like a selection of random things that they can throw.
Floor tomatoes give you health.
Excellent.
I mean, he's not wrong. Okay,
Barrel tomatoes give you health.
you see, you actually examine all this stuff before you chuck it. I just throw the thing immediately. I think they give you the same amount of coins no matter if you examine it or if you just chuck it.
Probably. But it doesn't hurt to check.
Ah, thank you for dragging me through that coin before it disappeared.
Money. Oh, thank you for running right into me.
He was like, why did he
A
come
small
back?
room like this is one of the better places to run into a money ghost because
Yeah.
it's easier to grab all the coins before the ghost disappears.
Oh yeah, I saw you were doing the thing where you were sucking it up until it was under 80 so that you
Yeah.
could kill it with one set
Can
of
I
snipes.
just say, I really wish Luigi wouldn't stop the game to do his stupid victory fist pump every time he clears a room. Because I'm usually trying to get coins, and it's like, nah, we gotta do this animation that runs down the clock before they disappear. Sure.
So I don't know how I feel about it because that sort of thing's pretty common in games. One of the thing, and it's not always like a victory animation. As another example, the original Luigi's Mansion, whenever you cleared a room after you got all of the ghosts done and whatever, it would play the do 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 kind of music and then like zoom in on the chest or whatever and then show the chest appearing after that. And I feel like there is merit to having that little, like, yeah, you did it kind of moment. But I do agree that, yes, if you are going to stop the player to do that, don't put a stop on any timers for anything that could disappear, like money, that happens at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Luigi's Mansion 1 did that or not, because I also have not played that game in quite a while. But just in general, though, that little moment of, yeah, you won does mean something in games, but it's just a matter of how you do it that keeps it from being annoying.
Yeah.
Or annoying versus satisfying.
I just find that like doing it for something like specifically a treasure ghost. Ow.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, I guess I should mention, because Luigi will do that like after you clear a room full of ghosts, which is fine. But in this game, clearing the room full of ghosts doesn't always mean that the room is done. Unlike Luigi's Mansion 1, where that usually does mean that the room is done when you get rid of all the ghosts and the lights kind of light up. In this game, sometimes like the gem ghost or the treasure ghost will be just hiding around. So then you will have cleared the room of ghosts, quote-unquote, again, and it plays the same animation, which I think is part of what makes it tiresome in that specific instance.
Yeah.
It's just like, I got one thing. Can I get a move on?
Whew.
Okay, so why couldn't we jump over those?
Backpack.
Because backpack.
Why couldn't I take off the backpack and chuck it over?
If you can't jump with something on your back, you're not throwing it. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Okay, here's another idea. Why don't we have Luigi carry it over?
That's a good question.
Huh. Yeah, but do we want to trust the semi-sentient ooze with his own prison?
Oh god, it is a prison. I didn't think about it that way.
It's like handing your dog his own leash and saying, "Hey, kindly do not run away while you're holding this."
Well, how well have we trained our Luigi? Is it potty trained? We can't spray water at it if it does something bad, because that
Potty
just
trained
kills
Brooklyn.
it.
That's actually it's kind of a visual critique I don't like about Luigi. It looks like you're shitting yourself every time you summon it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look next time.
It comes out of your backpack.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's being pooped out.
It did kind of look like that just now, I'm just gonna say.
Again, if your poops are that green and viscous, I would call a doctor.
Yeah, call a doctor immediately.
Although if they're only a little bit green, that's actually normal and healthy, so you're fine. Do not
I'd rather not know that.
Google search green poops, by the way, because either A, you're going to be seeing some gross shit, or B, you're going to think that you're sick. And that's the last thing we need right now. So
Never self-diagnose.
no.
Oh,
I mean, obviously, if something goes wrong, you feel something goes wrong, go see a doctor, but don't diagnose the problem.
Yeah.
I would say go see a doctor and have them tell you what's wrong, but that's also not a reasonable thing for a lot of people, because going to a doctor,
American healthcare.
going to a doctor and having them say, nah, it's just a cold, costs $750 if you have insurance. So, yeah.
well, I mean, it's more like 200, but
I mean, that's still...
The answer is still way too much.
yeah. Ugh. I do.
Have they ever... Oh, you go, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I do like the medieval level though.
I guess that's the thing about it, is that all the levels on their own are fun. I just don't know what about the game as a whole keeps me from thinking that it comes together after this point. Because, like, this, again, is the point where the game really just starts being a stage-by-stage kind of experience, which, you know, for a lot of games, you know, that works. Like, there's nothing wrong with a linear game. But I get the same kind of feeling playing this that I got playing Super Mario 3D World.
Oh man,
Which,
mini Grouchos. And yeah, I guess I can kind of see that feeling, especially with the fixed camera that basically zooms out across an entire room, does kind of
yeah.
prevent things from feeling, especially like it kind of undersells its own scale in that way.
I did like this game more than 3D World, I should mention.
Oh yeah,
I did not enjoy 3D World all that much, but it's frustrating trying to explain why, because there's nothing wrong with Mario 3D World. It sets what it out and does what it's trying to do fairly well. I just didn't care. Whereas this game, I did like what was going on. It's just I felt like the pieces didn't come together all the way, and it's that very unhelpful, vague sort of complaint where someone's like, "What did you think about my essay?" And it's like, "I didn't like it." Well, why? I just didn't like it. Okay, what's with the 20 questions? God. Oh no, they murdered Luigi.
Well, too bad. He can just go through the bars.
Luigi, you're back.
Well, that didn't slow him down at all, now did it?
you hurt my goo brother. You must die.
Are we sure that he's actually? What is he? How did he get?
I
Luigi's...
dished my piece of shit brother Mario. Now Luigi's my best friend.
You have no idea, Mario. He turned me into goo. It's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. I call it Goo Luigi.
Or Gooigi for short.
One of the things about Luigi's Mansion 1 that did kind of make things creepier, though, was how, like, matter-of-fact the key opening animation was. Where it zoomed in on just your hand turning the key to open the door, and it kind of presented the same sort of feeling that Resident Evil does with its, you know, it's door loading.
The door opening animation, yeah.
I mean, the door opening animation was a direct call to Resident Evil.
Okay,
That
so
and the keys.
you know that how there are sometimes really random minor things in games that just sort of stick with you for whatever reason? For me, one of those is in Luigi's Mansion 1, where you're opening a door you don't have a key to it. The sound effect of opening the door goes like ba ba da ba bum bum, or he's trying to pull on the door open is the bump bump, and it's being squeaky, which is the first part. And for some reason, that random ass sound effect has stuck with me and is like, I love that sound effect, even though it's something that you only ever hear if you examine the wrong.
No, I get what you mean. I have. It's not from that game, but one of my favorite sound effects from Mega Man X is when the door shutter closes behind you.
Yeah, but that's
Before you
like
fight a
something
boss.
that you actually hear several times throughout the game. Versus,
I know, but it's still such a minuscule thing, though.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's
It's
just
like you hear the door shutter closes behind you. It's like, I like that.
No,
sound.
what are you doing? Oh, okay.
You know, Pass Ryan can't hear you.
For a moment.
if we yell loud enough into the time stream, maybe he could.
For a moment, I forgot what this room was about, and I didn't see the bit in the middle where the tracks will stop the wagon. And my thought was, oh god, no, you gotta follow the wagon and avoid the arrows. And then I realized this is Luigi's Mansion. They wouldn't do anything quite that intensive.
It's much simpler than you think it is.
Yeah. I think I had the same thought process I just had now while I was originally playing this room. So
Yeah, that I remember thinking, oh, so I got to move a bit with Luigi, then push it with Gooigi, and then move, and then it's just like, oh, wait, no,
No,
you just go to the other side.
it's not really all that interesting now. Just
I feel like there's a lot of. I feel like that's the hallmark of a good puzzle game, though, is when they make you think that the answer is one thing that's really complicated, and then it turns out that the actual answer was much simpler. I've talked about this game before, but Baba Is You is one of my favorite puzzle games, and just games in general, from the last few years. And basically, one thing about that game is that if you're having trouble coming to the end, and you're going through like a thought process, and it's like, okay, I can do this, which makes this, which makes this, and then you're just stuck at the very end, and it doesn't work. That's usually your cue that, okay, you're doing the exact wrong thing, start from square one. Which, I don't know, in a puzzle game, I like that, when part of figuring out the puzzle is reevaluating your starting point. I find that very clever when a puzzle can lead you to thinking for one way, but the answer is actually the other way, and it makes sense if you were to start from that thinking from the beginning.
As long as it's not too hard to get back to the starting point.
Oh yes,
I would
of course.
agree.
That's puzzle games are hard to make for that reason, because the line between a puzzle being tricky to solve and satisfying versus just frustrating is razor thin.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of games are hard to make. Game development is just hard, and a lot of people don't give it credit.
When
Don't
you
give
walk
dev-
into a
devs
room
lot.
and see just nothing but a pile of gold in front of you, it is the
Good
best.
job, Ryan. You just ruined this nation's economy.
This is a hotel.
You ruined this hotel nation's economy.
Actually, if we were still going by gold standards, finding more gold would just be a flat increase for the economy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, if that was the royal coffers, so if you took all the money from the king, that means that all the state-funded projects won't be able to be made. So that public orphanage just doesn't happen, and little ghost Jimmy can't stay at the ghost orphanage
Wait, how
until
are
his
funds?
ghost parents
Wait,
come
hold on,
for him.
hold on a second. Wait, how are funds distributed in a monarchy?
The king pays for crap, and then they do this stuff. The king still has to pay the soldiers, otherwise they'll revolt.
Oh boy.
Even in a monarchy, there's still capitalism, John.
Oh boy.
I don't think there's actually anybody watching this.
Come, my loyal subjects! Cricket.
I said, come, my loyal subjects.
They couldn't get enough ghosts, so they have cardboard ghosts.
I like the idea that all of the subjects just put out these cardboard cutouts because this is the 15th jousting thing that they have to watch that day. And the king has had these out for the past 6 hours and nobody has noticed. He hasn't noticed that that they put them there yet. Although I do appreciate just making the crowd out of cardboard, because there are still a lot of games today where the crowds and stuff like this do still look like cardboard cutouts. So making them literal cardboard cutouts, I just find to be very funny.
Yeah, next level is all the subtle messaging that Nintendo's remember from Paper Mario? Yeah, the good ones. Paper audience reacting to your battle commands and things. I miss Thousand Year Door.
I want them to remake Paper Mario 1.
Man, you want to talk about the biggest fucking... we were talking about this in a live stream a couple of weeks ago, but it's every time we get these Mario rumors, the biggest red flag for me is when they talk about remaking Thousand Year Door or remastering it. It's okay, now it's fake. Now I know it's fake. Because that's the one thing everybody keeps wanting.
Unless it's a Zelda game Nintendo hates to recognize that the GameCube exists.
It's frustrating, though, because, I feel like the first game could better use a remake than the second one. I think that they're both roughly equal in quality. But if only just so that it graphically matches the other ones. I feel
All
like it would be a
Thousand
good
Year
one
Door
to go
needs at this point is a remaster so that it's on modern consoles. So that you don't need to get a GameCube and a GameCube disc to play it. Well,
yeah, because
technically you don't need to, but, it would be
we're
the
at the
honorable
point where the
thing.
GameCube is retro and thus commands retro prices. So...
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, buy up all of those PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games now, while they're still $4.
Y'all should have gotten the PS TV back when it was $25, because now, oh boy. Oh boy.
That floor is a lot shorter than I remember it being.
Yeah, it did in 25 minutes.
I mean, I suppose it makes sense, but each floor took me roughly an hour to complete.
I mean, remember, I also know exactly what I'm doing.
That is fair.
So I'm not speed running, but
Yeah.
playing proficiently.
yes,
Wait, are you saying that it's possible to be good at video games?
I try to be.
That sounds fake.
I think you just
I like to think that I like to think there are some games I've played well for the channel.
I'm glad that you have the ability to think that, because I certainly don't.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm.
Do you remember when Ryan gave up on Prince of Persia because the game didn't let him complete it, and he just let the game defeat him?
To be fair, that was a situation where I literally had no idea what to do because I was stuck in
I shit you not, that just randomly popped into my head a couple of days ago. You just endlessly swinging and falling to your death.
Well, your save file was completely fucked, wasn't it?
Functionally, yes.
Okay.
And it's one of those I always meant to go back to it. I just haven't for whatever reason.
It's like, no, that game wounded me.
No, I don't hate the game. I don't hate the game. It's just one of those. Okay, I'm in a weird position and I'm not in the mood to re-record it right now, so I'll just save it for a later date, and then I just haven't yet.
6 years later.
Did you
Yeah,
ever go
basically.
back? Have you played it since?
Nope.
Yeah, the game beat you.
You know, sometimes he's still swinging on that pole to this day.
Well, to be fair, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is a very one-off kind of playthrough. Like, it's not a replayable game at all.
Nope, not at all.
You
so.
play through it, you're playing through it the same way every time.
Yeah, so I'll eventually get to it. I'll get to it after Lewis gets to DMC4. How about that?
Okay, so never. Got it.
Exactly. All right, so I'll see you guys all for the next part of Luigi's Mansion.